man. I'm your host, John Woodward. I'm here on the tower with Barret LeBlanc. Man, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
I like the intro music. That was nice.
You like that? I was trying to find something that wasn't too threatening, but yet not too docile either.
No, that's
So,
okay. I mean,
so you
yeah,
know, that's the thing about doing this show. It's a living deal, in that it's gonna ebb and flow and change as it goes along. So anyway,
yeah.
but I appreciate you being here for the first one. It's kind of a trial run. Um,
Well, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for
yeah,
having me.
yeah.
And I'm sure the
Coming,
question a lot of people are wondering, why are you doing this? All right, how did this come about? I should say.
yeah. It's a great question, and my wife's asking the same thing. Uh, but here's the thing: podcasts are obviously not anything new. There's a lot of people doing them, but it was something I enjoyed doing, and I wanted to do one that wasn't necessarily, was just kind of your everyday fan. I don't work for national media. I'm not having superstars yet, on the show or anything, but kind of something that could talk sports. In my case, Longhorn sports primarily, but as we go into the SEC, talking SEC sports, and then kind of branch out. And I would love to like bring people on this show that are fans just like you and I. They maybe not don't host a podcast, but they just kind of like to talk about sports, and collegiate sports in particular, but pro sports as well, and just kind of enjoy talking about it. And one of the things that people may be asking is, you get an LSU guy, you're doing a Longhorn podcast, and you obviously have an LSU guy um, on the show first, and it pays to be your brother-in-law.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I'm an easy target, so it's
it's an
fine.
easy target.
And I'm obviously here to make you look good. And
Well, I'm
that's
here
the
for the
thing.
clicks. I'm here for the clicks and for the attention. And so why not bring somebody. But it could have been an Aggie or a Sooner. So that could have been a lot worse. But
Yeah, I guess so.
I think one of the things about you is we always talking sports, whether it's the Longhorns or the Tigers, and we're both pretty. I think we're both pretty realistic on our teams, in that
Uh,
when things are going well, we'll talk about it, but we're not afraid to kind of say, when things are need some improvement. So
Yes, I think that's we're definitely not over the top, and although you're looking for clicks, so you may need to ramp it up a little bit, and get into some
um,
football
yeah,
conspiracy theories and things like that. So
that's coming. I just didn't want to. I
okay,
didn't want to get the gun on the first episode. So
probably a good idea.
uh, when you're not on the show, I'll do some things that you can't refute, and you're not on the show to talk about, and we'll kind of, what's the real story behind him, you know. But I think this, getting back to your original question, was why am I doing this? I think, I guess it's kind of a hobby, but something I've been thinking about doing for a while now. I kind of been doing something through my job with podcasts, and then wanted to do something on my own, but I wanted to do something that I was kind of passionate about, and felt strongly about, and I felt that would make the best show. So
Yep.
we'll see where this goes. Like I said, it's a work in progress from the intro. Luckily, you give good reviews on the intro music, so maybe I'm in the
Yeah,
right direct
definitely.
on the right, yeah, starting
It's a good
off right
start.
there. But we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
So today, you and I are going to talk about just kind of some of these upcoming bowl games. I hate that we've missed some of the barn burners that have come across so far, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll just, well, I mean, we'll have to deal with the ones that are coming up. All
Yep.
right.
All
So
right.
I've got odds if you need the odds. And but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, throw something out at me.
Here's the first one coming up here in just about an hour. So the Aggies taking on Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State's favored by just maybe 4 points.
I think, yeah, I looked at a couple of them, in preparation, and yeah, I think it was like
three and a
three
half,
and a half,
three and a
four,
half,
something like 3.5. Okay,
3.5. And
yeah.
unfortunately, the Aggies have kind of decimated by between the portal and the coaching change and all. So who do you got?
Well, I think you got to go Oklahoma State because just like you said, the portal coaching change, Gundy is at Oklahoma State. He'll probably be there forever. And I think one of the big things is, at least in my book, it always comes down Vegas knows, right? Because I think when the bowl was first announced, the Aggies were actually favored. And then the portal hit and, everybody's gone. Also, at least I think as of yesterday or last I heard, Ollie Gordon is playing for Oklahoma State. So with everything going on with the Aggies, I think some of the guys are getting an opportunity to play today. Some of the guys who maybe haven't played much all year. So there will be a little fire from the Aggies to start out, but I do see Oklahoma State winning this and covering. They may not cover by a lot, might win by a touchdown or even less, but
and we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a second, but yeah, you don't know what to expect. I mean, bowls are kind of different anyway, but they're especially different these days. Yeah. So I'd have to see with Gordon playing that definitely Oklahoma State probably has to have the edge.
Yeah,
just because of the opt-outs.
Yeah, and if memory serves, I think Oklahoma State, they tend to play close games in bowl games. I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking the past couple have been close, and so who knows? Maybe they play down to a decimated A&M team, or maybe they actually blow them out. I'm not sure, but I don't. Unfortunately for the Aggies, I'm married to an Aggie, so it's I don't see the Aggies pulling this one out.
Well, we'll find out. I guess we'll find out. All right. So next up is the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, which I believe of course is played up in Boston. I don't know. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, I think isn't SMU favored kind of big in this one, which surprised me because I traveling to Boston to play BC in an odd stadium, and I don't think. I'm just going to guess the weather isn't good because it's winter in Boston, and even if it is sunny or whatever, it's going to be colder than what they're used to. I think SMU does win it because they've had a great season and they've had a lot going for them. Their only 2 losses were on the road to Big 12 teams, and they've done some good. In conference, they won their conference, and it all depends on. I think if they can, keep it close in the beginning. Again, I think it's just going to be an odd stadium. Everything around the game favors Boston College. Now, once the game starts rolling, I think if SMU can, play their game, then I think they take care of this one. I'm not sure what the spread is.
It's 9.5 to SMU.
Oh,
that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think they cover, but I think SMU wins.
Yeah, I mean,
if it's cold, if it's raining, if there's any kind of precipitation or snow or something, all bets are off, and it'll be low scoring. But I think SMU, hey, it's football weather, right? So I think they can pull it off.
The weather was horrible in Annapolis for that game earlier today, so I don't know. Yeah. ESPN says their prediction is they'll win by like almost 14 points. So who knows? But I
Really?
think SMU and Boston College. I'm going to go Boston College just
Oh,
because I think that's a lot of points. But
that is a lot of points. Yeah.
and it makes
Boston
it more
College straight
interesting.
up, or
Straight up,
or
Boston College. Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know why. Why not?
Why not?
It's the
Yeah.
Fenway Bowl.
Yes.
Maybe they know how to play in that weather more than
They could.
SMU. Next,
Yeah.
we got the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl up in the Bronx.
All right.
The,
Who is in that one?
grudge match between Rutgers and Miami.
Rutgers and Miami. Wow.
Rutgers is favored by 2.5.
Really?
Got an over-under of about 41.5 points in the game. So
this may be another very similar to the Fenway Bowl. It's the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. You have one team who's more or less playing a home game, and it's in a stadium, right? I mean, it's so in a baseball stadium.
I'm about to go. I'm going Miami.
I think Miami does pull this out, just for overall pedigree. I know Miami hasn't been Miami for almost 2 decades, but I think they do pull this out.
I did, yeah, because their QB opted out. He went to the portal. That's right.
Yeah. But I think they pull it out.
Okay. Well, we'll both stick with that, and I'm going to take a brief pause because when you said you're coming on the show called The Tower, just to give you your due. Here's the memorial for those who don't know. This is the Memorial Tower on the campus of LSU. Not quite as imposing. It's actually that looks like it's about 12 foot tall.
Hey now,
I'm not sure the exact, but you have your own tower, and so I wanted to highlight that so that you felt comfortable.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
The Tower. So that one's for you. So if you get a chance to go and you're on the campus of LSU, go check out their tower. It's nice too.
Appreciate that.
All right, so we hit the Bad Boys Mower Pinstripe Bowl. This is the one I'm looking for, my friend.
All right.
Tomorrow's Pop-Tarts Bowl, North Carolina State and Kansas State.
Yeah.
and here's the thing. I'm gonna share something with you. Mm-hmm. And I made up a little something because I think this bowl has its own drama and thing to deal with. Let me put it up here. So there's a trophy to the left with the 2 openings for the Pop-Tarts a la a toaster. I'm pretty sure that it's not a working toaster, although the comments I've seen on it are calling for a working toaster. But and then you'll see the mascot right there. And it's the first edible mascot of any bowl game, which is probably a good thing. But I thought it was funny, a couple of the quotes. For 60 years, Pop-Tarts has sacrificed everything in the name of crazy good flavor. So why wouldn't that include our beloved football mascot, too? Heidi Ray, Senior Director of Marketing for Pop-Tarts, said in a news release. And then it goes on to say the Pop-Tarts Bowl mascot will run around the field before and during the game, interacting with fans. But pay attention to this one. But once the game is over, the mascot will transform into a game-winning snack for the victors.
I don't even know what to make of that.
I'm kind of at a loss, but I don't know what transform means. I don't know. Is the guy going to step out of the costume? I hope so, because that would be quite awkward if the guy is in the costume while they're eating.
That would not be good.
So I don't know. Trophy's pretty cool. I think it's definitely going to stick out in somebody's trophy case. I
Yes,
don't know. What are your
especially
thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Pop-Tart Bowl? And we hadn't even talked about the teams, but coming down from the teams all the way to uh, the mascot and the trophy.
well, I mean, the top storyline is obviously the mascot and the trophy, so we can start there. That I'm not. I'm not sure about the the beloved football mascot since we just learned about it within the last week, but I can see it being a fan favorite, and the whole edible side of it is, I think that's definitely a positive. It could be like the what was the other bowl last week, the Toasty Bowl or something, where they threw toast in the air, and maybe it'll be something like that. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of worried about the transform portion of this. And
Well,
the trophy is phenomenal. I mean,
yeah.
having the two slots like a toaster for Pop Tarts is, I mean, that's fantastic. That may
Well,
be
I think we'll all be on the edge of our seats waiting to see what happens with this one.
yes, it's
Kansas,
and so okay, now the actual teams, I guess. Kansas State,
yeah, yeah,
NC State. I think Kansas State pulls this one out.
yeah. They're only favored by 2.5. I think their
Oh, really?
quarterback is in the portal, but
Hmm.
I like Kansas State too.
Yeah, I think they're a better overall team. They probably, I'm going to say by a touchdown. They cover
Okay.
easily.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'll go.
And sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to let anyone out there who's actually listening to this, I am by no means an expert uh, when it comes to handicapping games. So please don't
I,
bet on what I'm saying.
well, I think you're hedging your bets just in case, but okay. I'm no expert as well, but I definitely think Kansas State. I think they definitely win by, I don't know. I'll say 6-7. So, all right, now we're kind of getting into a little more of the meat of the bowl schedule. Alamo Bowl, OU, and Arizona. So future SEC opponent for you guys.
Yes.
I think
And
this could end up being one of the better games.
I think so. Well, I mean, traditionally, the Alamo Bowl, it usually turns out to be a good game. And I think Arizona's probably better than most people, especially outside of the Pac-12, give them credit for. But I don't see. I, I think I'm going to go with OU on this one. I I'm kind of going back and forth on this. It's I can't pick a push, but I think OU maybe squeaks this one out.
Well, I can't go against OU. It's kind of in the credo, but Arizona's favored by 3. I think. I think they. I think they cover and win by 7.
All right.
So, and those of you, shout out to anybody watching either here live or later on. We both declared ourselves not professional handicappers, but not afraid to give our opinion on anything either. So, all right, moving on. It's fun just reading the names of the sponsors off, because now we got the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
Yes.
Clemson and Kentucky. Clemson is getting 4 points. I haven't heard any opt-outs on their side other than the DB that went to Texas, Makuba.
Right. And I'll be completely honest. Once the portal stuff started opening, I was like, man, I got overwhelmed, and so I haven't really kept track as much. But I think
overwhelmed. You got overwhelmed.
I was like, I can't keep track of all this. I just saw the list of SEC schools and saw LSU was at the bottom for people who transferred out, and I was like, okay, I'm happy. I don't need to pay attention anymore. So, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Kentucky. I think the Wildcats pulling off here.
I'm gonna go with Clemson, and just here's some some facts here. This is Clemson's 50th appearance bowl record. That's
Wow.
the 50th appearance. They're 26-23. Their last bowl appearance was in 22. Orange Bowl lost to Tennessee. And then let's see, Kentucky lost last year to Iowa, which means they didn't score 10 points.
That is true.
Yikes. But that's in Jacksonville, so I don't know. Both teams should travel well to that game, I guess.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah.
I don't know the travel habits of Clemson and Kentucky. But
I mean, Clemson, I think, normally travels well, but who knows? They may be disappointed for not winning, going 11-1 this year or something. So,
right. Pop-Tart Bowl down in Orlando, that might be a different story. But. All right, moving on. We got my other favorite, the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, which outside of the Rose Bowl has one of the cooler aesthetic venues up there in El Paso, Oregon State and Notre Dame.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. The view there, I've never been there personally, but every time on TV, it looks fantastic. And I do have to, one thing why the Sun Bowl is probably one of my absolute favorites is because it is the only bowl that's not aired on the ESPN family. It's not ESPN or ABC, so it's the last holdout.
It's CBS, isn't it?
It's CBS, yeah.
And always has been for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, I think the last one they got moved to ESPN was probably the Orange Bowl. I think was like NBC for years and years, and got moved to ESPN. And so I kind of like the Sun Bowl for the fact that they're still holding on. CBS is still holding on to that.
Notre Dame's favored by 6 in this one.
Yeah, and
you don't have either starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think this one. I think Notre Dame. I have to say that correctly, right? Notre Dame. I think they had a little bit tougher schedule, but that's probably because they played some really big time teams. As far as Oregon State goes, they're what are they like 8-4, I think, and they lost some. Yeah, they lost some real close games.
8-4, and then 9-3 for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think Oregon State has potential, and they could pull it off. And you know what? I think the only game they weren't in was Oregon. So, and on the other side, Notre Dame. I mean, they have 3 losses that were to like big teams, but they got I like to say a whole lot of little W. Big losses, but little W's because they had a few cupcakes too. I'm gonna go Oregon State by a touchdown. There you go.
I'm gonna go Oregon State, but like 3.
Okay.
I think it's going to honestly come down to who wants to be in El Paso tomorrow, and who really wants to be there. And I don't know. I think Oregon State's got a bit of a chip on their shoulder ever since somebody at their school ticked somebody off, and they got left out of the conference shuffle. So
yeah.
All right. So we're both going Oregon State on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 1:00 on Friday, actually. Now we got the Liberty Bowl, Memphis and Iowa State, Friday as well.
Yeah.
And let's see, I've got Iowa State. Iowa State's favored by 10.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to Memphis, pulling off the upset. I mean, they're playing at home, basically, right? I mean. So
that's as close as you're going to get.
Yeah. so I'm gonna give Memphis. I think it's actually their home stadium, right? I mean, it is their stadium that they're playing in.
Yeah, they're 9-3. Iowa State's 7-5.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I'm going to say Memphis pulls it off by one. Sure.
I'm gonna go with Iowa State on that one. Oh.
All right.
We got to keep it interesting. I mean, we can't pick the people are going to want us to,
the people. Yes,
the people are watching, and thank you again. Hit that like button, if you like the show. We will bring this guy back. I found him somewhere, but he'll definitely be back. Cotton Bowl, Missouri and Ohio State.
Are the quarterbacks coming back? Are the quarterbacks playing? I don't know.
I think the quarterback for Missouri is.
Yeah.
Not definitely because the other McCord is in Syracuse now for.
True. Okay. Yeah. I say Mizzou pulls this off. Yeah.
Okay.
Going with them. Let me see. Cotton Bowl.
I'm looking.
Mizzou. Yeah, not that far. I'm gonna go big. Mizzou by 10.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm looking to see, and for some reason it's not pulling up.
No.
The Cotton Bowl. There it is. My bad. I'm gonna see. I think I've got to go Missouri. Missouri is Ohio State. Ohio State's actually favored, which is actually is a real slap.
Let me see.
To me, that's a slap in the face to them. But
so who you got?
I'm going Missouri. I think. Well, I mean, I think I saw what's his name. Harrison is in Dallas. He's with the team. But I don't know. I think I'm leaning Missouri.
All right.
I mean, do you have a dog in that fight? You think Missouri too, right?
I think Missouri, yeah. And I'm saying they win by 10.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there. But
I think the offense starts humming and they pull out ahead a little bit, and then Ohio State kind of catches up, but then maybe Mizzou tacks on a touchdown at the end to make it 10.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. That'll be an interesting one, actually.
Yeah.
Peach Bowl, Ole Miss and Penn State.
Yeah, I think Penn State. Penn State's had the trouble the past couple of years. They've been ranked, they've played well, but then they run into Michigan and Ohio State, and then it's kind of tanks their season. But I think this is a big matchup and a big bowl that gives them an opportunity against a good team. I mean, Ole Miss is a good team, and so I think they pull this one out.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Ole Miss on this one.
All right.
So look at the new SEC guy going with the SEC team.
I don't have to like everybody in the SEC,
I would be surprised if you did. All right. The Music City Bowl, Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl.
Ooh, I don't know what Trans-Perfect is, but
Auburn and Maryland.
Auburn. Auburn's. I give Maryland a bowl win. Let's do that. Even though Auburn, it's not that far for them to travel, and they should have a pretty good turnout. I'm going to say Maryland.
All right.
Just because Auburn's kind of a mess this year.
And Auburn is favored by 7.
What?
Yep.
Okay. Well, maybe it's not as big of a mess as I thought.
Yeah. So I'll say Auburn by 3.
I should have looked at these spreads ahead of time.
You should have.
I did look at a few.
I thought I told you to.
Well,
Uh,
you gave me a few to look
all
at, and I
right.
did.
Capital One, Orange Blow, Orange Blow, Georgia, Florida State.
I think
It,
the heartwarming story would be, hey, Florida State wins it, and all the
right.
other dominoes fall to where they get the what is it, the Kali Matrix National Championship, and actually get recognized for a share. But unfortunately, I don't think that happens against a team like Georgia. Now, I think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be fairly low scoring, even though Georgia can put up points. But the way that Florida State has played defense since they've had to rely on defense, I think they actually do a decent job of somewhat shutting down Georgia. So I'm going to go Georgia by 10 or like maybe 11. Let's say I'm saying low scoring, like 24-13 for Georgia anyway. Maybe 21-10. How about that?
Okay.
Even lower.
I'm gonna go. I'm definitely going Georgia. I think they're gonna.
Yeah.
They're gonna smack them around. And
I mean, I will not be surprised if it's
well, I would have
45 to
said
7 or something. But
I would have said for the defense had that verse for Florida State, he opted out.
yeah,
And I may have missed a few others that opted out as well. So I don't know. I see Georgia winning something like 35-17. So I'm gonna stick with that one and just go with that. All right. The Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, Toledo and Wyoming. And I know this one's near and dear to your heart, but
well, Wyoming is a big rival to Colorado State, so
it is. And I know you have a student at Colorado State. Wyoming favored by 3.
Give me Toledo. They're like what, 11-2 or something. They've had a good year.
11-1, yeah.
11-1, yeah.
And ESPN actually has their BPI prediction has Toledo by 1.2 points.
Okay.
And they have the 54% chance to win straight up.
So, okay, I'll take Toledo.
All right. We're getting way into these.
We're getting into weeds, man.
We're getting into it, but here's the good one. So, all right, the ReliaQuest Bowl, the bowl LSU has been looking forward to against Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That's an interesting, I think I'm not even sure what the ReliaQuest Bowl is. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Tampa, it's in the
Tampa
Buccaneers Stadium.
Yeah.
LSU by 10 is the line. What do you think?
I say they cover. Yeah.
I think they cover and then some.
I'm on the Nuss bus, man.
Okay, so this is, and I'm not gonna get ahead to our take it or leave it segment, but I think this is where Nussmeier gets his shot.
Yeah, and I don't think he goes Jane Daniels type thing here. Obviously
not the same player though.
Not the same player, exactly.
All right,
but we've had a few weeks to actually prepare, kind of alter the offense for Nussmeier, and he's a talented guy, and he's stuck it out being the backup and to move into this role. So he's looked forward to this, and so I think he steps in now. And we'll get into more details later, obviously, but yeah, I think he leads them to a good win.
Where's he from?
Oh, that's a great question.
There's our LSU expert.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know all the background, of
But is he from Louisiana or way outside?
He is from Louisiana. Hold on, I'm gonna look at it. Oh, Lake Charles. Oh, that's right. Did he go to Barret? No, he went. So he was born in Lake Charles. So
okay.
Like 45 minutes from where I'm from. So
all right. Which is Rayne, Louisiana.
Rayne, Louisiana, fraud capital of the world. Yes.
Fiesta Bowl, the Liberty Liberty versus the Liberty Flames, I think, versus Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Oregon. I mean, I don't.
I just
Maybe maybe Liberty scores. A bit. I think they put up some numbers this year, but I don't think they can do it against Oregon.
the only way I think is if Oregon just walks in there and doesn't act like they want to be there at all. But
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
it could.
Nix is playing.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I went to the Cotton Bowl last year to watch Tulane and USC, and you know, Tulane played. I mean, USC played hard, and they had Caleb Williams, but in the end, they tried to say that they didn't want to be there, but they played hard. So I think Oregon's going to get out there, and who knows if Liberty's close at the end, they may be able to take their shot, but I don't think it's going to be that close.
Yeah, I'm going to go Oregon as well. Yeah. Okay, Iowa, Tennessee in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. I thought Cheez-It Bowl was done, but it is not. It is just relocated to the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to say Tennessee because they can score more than 11 points. So I think Tennessee pulls this out. Again, it could be low scoring because we're talking Iowa. And they could have a shot in the end, just kind of hanging around, and then, maybe pull something out in the end. But I think it's going to be Tennessee.
Vegas has it dead even, or what I'm saying, which is kind of surprising. But I think if Tennessee can score 13, they may have it.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of the name. That's the way it is. But
and fun fact, I believe the Iowa punter only needs like 29 yards to break the all-time distance record for most yards punted in a season.
I'd go to Vegas and put just about everything I own on that fact. The fact that guy is not going to get about 8 opportunities to punt the football. Yeah. That is as close to a surefire bet as we've got here. All right. So first semifinal in the college football playoff, you get Bama and Michigan over in the Rose Bowl, the Prudential Rose Bowl out in Pasadena.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of different thoughts on this. What are you thinking?
Well, I think I never pick against Nick Saban, really. I think Bama is going to pull this out. They've had a lot of close games this season, which isn't necessarily a good thing. They had QB issues early on, but that's kind of been sorted out, and things seem to be going pretty well for them. Beating Georgia, that's kind of a confidence boost, but of course they beat Georgia by the same amount they barely beat Auburn. So, I think when it all comes down to it, Michigan maybe have to trust J.J. McCartney to, like, all of a sudden start doing stuff he hasn't really done all season against this kind of competition. So I think it's going to end up being Bama, and I'll say by 7.
Okay.
And what are your thoughts?
They're Michigan's favored by 1.5. You know what the only thing gives me pause on Bama is that Auburn game. And how surprised I was at how they played. Now they pulled it out, but I would have never saw them having trouble with Auburn. And again, that's a rivalry game, Iron Bowl. I get it.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that Michigan has played kind of the type of team Alabama is. It's a different style. It's a type of quarterback that they haven't seen this year. And arguably, Alabama's one of the hottest teams the back half of the season. So
yeah.
I'm leaning towards them by about 8, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So that would put we're thinking or Alabama is half of the title.
Yep.
And then of course we've got our all-state Sugar Bowl, Texas and Washington, which is the rematch from the Alamo Bowl last year. Uh, Two teams that should know each other well. We had at least 3 to 4 guys opt out last year and lost by 7. I don't think I know for a fact Washington didn't have anybody opt out last year. Um, I think I think uh, as much as these teams throw the ball, I think there's going to be points scored. I think both pass defenses, whoever's pass defense plays better and has more stops, 1 or 2 crucial stops is probably going to have an advantage. But I really think it could come down to the running game and who can run the football in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a good point. Because watching the Pac-12 championship, Washington's pass defense is not good, but they did step up just enough in the Pac-12 championship. They did just enough. And the thing is, like you said, it may come down to the run, which both teams have a pretty good running back, but I think UT's got a better run defense and a better overall defense. So,
yeah, and it'll be interesting because I read something, I think on Orange Bloods, that a lot of Washington's runs have gone to the outside and not up the middle, which would be smart because that's where our strength is.
yeah.
But ultimately, the game decider, I think, will be the amount of pressure our defense can put on Penix, because he's not as mobile as other quarterbacks. And I do think the more pressure we can put on him, the more we can affect the outcome of the game, because he's got 3 killer receivers out there, and we have to put the pressure on him in order to kind of alleviate that. So I'm going to go Texas, and then
really,
yeah, it's a shocker. I don't see the 60% chance I see on the ESPN of us winning. I think it'll be a close, tough game.
Yeah.
But I do see ultimately Texas going to be in the more well-rounded team as a whole.
Yeah.
And feel free to answer. You don't have to pick Texas, but it's encouraged.
I actually think that UT will win, but it's going to be really, they're not covering. I don't think. I think they'll win by like 1. I think it's going to be super close because, it's going to be more of a home game for them, I guess, easier for travel. But when it comes to playing away from home, they haven't. I think I looked up earlier. Any game away from home, there was only 1 comfortable win, and that was Baylor. Everything else was either close or, of course, the loss. The Cotton Bowl.
But we did play away from home in the Big 12 title, and
that's true.
So.
That is true. Okay,
I'm
sorry,
just
forgot
saying.
about that. Yeah. But and then on the flip side, you look at Washington, and they haven't won a game by more than 10 points. It doesn't matter who. Out of their last 9 wins or something like that, they haven't won a game by more than 10 points, and it doesn't matter whether it was Oregon or whether it was Stanford. They weren't really blowing anybody out. So going up against a team like Texas, who, if they can, limit Penix, and then Washington has to run, I think that's going to be a tough task for them.
Yeah. All right. So you have Texas and a squeaker.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't. What is it? Texas by 3.5? Is that the?
I think 4, maybe 3.5, 4.
Yeah,
Something.
I think we cover. I think it's more than a point, but I
Yeah.
think you've got a fourth quarter game,
Yeah.
and I'll be more than happy to be wrong and be well ahead. But
Yeah.
I seriously doubt. I just think they're too evenly matched. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there is our bowls, and I think you and I had talked about it either yesterday or today. Just kind of what's going to happen with this 12-team playoff and bowl games. Is it time to look at a different format for bowl games with this 12-team format?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's going to come of it, and that may be a discussion for a later time. But just watching the amount of bowls, and you got 5 and 7 teams in the bowls, and what 12 teams is going to do in terms of TV and things like that. I just long term, I don't know that the bowls as we know it right now are going to survive.
Yeah. And as much as I hate to say it, I agree with that. I love watching bowl games. I mean, some of my favorite memories as a kid is, sitting around with 2 different TVs set up,
Oh
watching
yeah.
all the games on New Year's Day. And um, I see it. And, we kind of talked about this, the First Responder Bowl last night, I think could be the direction that it needs to go, because it's basically a smaller bowl, kind of a regional bowl. And it had 2 teams that were both within driving distance, and they don't really play each other. Maybe it's, that could be the future, to where you have more regional bowls. Now it's going to be hard in some places, it's because maybe doing it in the Rockies or up north where the weather maybe doesn't cooperate. But having something to where you can have teams that are able to travel easier and can actually make it there, because not every most of these bowls, they're not going to be big time bowls anymore. They're not going to be something that's desirable uh, for these teams to travel to, because now with the expanded playoff, it becomes even more playoff or bust for a lot of teams. By expanding it, more teams think they deserve and think they need to go in there, and so that means more teams get disappointed, and more fans are, disappointed and maybe don't want to go to the bowl game. Um, so I think there will be some changes. The one change that really should have happened over probably 20 years ago, or maybe not quite that long, but should have happened before, is we need to call this, get rid of some of these bowls. I mean, there's too many. I mean, it's a great opportunity for some of these teams to actually have a bowl game, basically an exhibition. But when you look at the stands and you see, there's hardly anybody there, it's like,
Yeah, it's gotten out of control, and
yeah,
the biggest benefit from if you probably ask the coaches is that those extra practices. I mean,
yeah,
so for the coaches, it's about getting some of those extra practices for next year.
right,
Um, but it'll be interesting, needless to say, what happens, because there definitely will be some changes. There's got
yeah,
to be. It's just a matter of what. So we'll have to pick that up later to talk some more about that.
yeah.
Before we get to take it or leave it, some take it or leave it questions. Real quick, Texas and OU, I don't know if you knew it, are going to be coming to the SEC next year. I'm not
Wait,
sure if you
what?
knew that. Yeah. Um, as an SEC person, are they ready?
Um, well, the fact that I think UT, since they played Bama good last year and then they won at Bama this year, I think it shows that they're ready. I don't think either team is going to come in and you know win the league right off the bat. Um, I think UT they're probably more ready than OU, but I think both of them are going to come in, make a little bit of noise.
You gain valuable points for saying that.
I get that.
I think Texas, if you ask me, when Sark first got hired, definitely not. But probably the smartest thing he did was put guys on his staff that knew how to build an SEC level roster. Starting with offensive line and both lines, and so just after year 3, I think that he's got an idea of where he's headed. I don't think it's where he wants to be yet, but I think that he put some guys on staff that knows what it's going to take to compete in the SEC versus the Big 12. Definitely.
Yeah.
So
and the one, or not one, but probably the main issue for both schools, UT and OU, is that they're probably going to get kind of Bama treatment in the beginning because they're new.
What's the Bama treatment?
The Bama treatment is well, everybody's going to be up for you. Georgia's just getting that in the past few years now. But
what kind of use to that?
Well, to a Big 12 level. But
that hurts. That hurts. But we are used to getting kind of, especially this year.
Yeah,
everybody. But I get what you're saying, because it's the first. I mean, it's the first time we will have played Georgia in the SEC, in Florida, etc. So
and I mean, coming to the SEC, I do have to ask, how you and your players are going to feel the first time they see another player do that.
That if they're not used to that by now, then
I mean, it's a penalty in the Big 12, but I don't know what's going to happen in that.
I think it's stupid to be a penalty, and if you ask most players, they would probably say the same thing. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. I saw. I mean, you're living rent free in people's head if they do that, all the time. So you're like, whatever. The OU guys, a couple of the OU guys after the game, tattooed the horns upside down on their legs after the game, which if you're looking down, the horns are up. So I mean, I'll just let that speak for itself. But I mean, I don't think that bothers. But I did see something where, it said state by state most hated team in the state. And in Alaska, they had Texas. And I have no idea what we did to the state of Alaska to cause such a nasty reaction.
Well, I mean, Texas likes to claim that they're the biggest state and all that, which I'm sure rubs Alaska the wrong way.
Yeah, I had no idea the feelings ran that deep. So
I mean, that's all I can guess.
Well, Lord willing, again, this is the first foray into this podcast. Hopefully we'll keep going. My goal is to continue to have you on the show, because I like I said, I want to get other SEC fans such as yourself on the show, and talk about, what it's like with some of these new, maybe soon to be rivalries coming up, and, opportunities that we hadn't had. And so I think, having you on during basketball, but especially during baseball season, will be great. I think Texas and LSU play down in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll have a lot to talk about there. So, all right, well, here's a take it or leave it question.
Okay.
I mean, you can, look at it as similar to maybe like a buy or a sell. So you don't have to take it and you don't have to leave it. And, and there's, I'll let you go with it. Washington will have over 100 yards rushing against Texas.
I'm going to say leave it.
Okay. Good man. I'm keeping a tally of all the things you've said that are very positive in Texas direction.
I'm trying to butter you up. That's all.
All right. And you kind of answered this. we'll see a rematch between Texas and Bama for the national title.
Yeah, I think so. I'll take it.
All right.
Yeah.
And we'll have to do another show on when that game comes about, because
Okay. If
if that comes about like we think it will, I see Bama being favored. I don't see Vegas putting Saban as a dog against somebody trying to beat him twice. So
it all comes in if UT's pass defense shows up. That's what you need.
Yeah. All right. LSU beats this. I should not have even given you a preview on some of these. LSU beats the spread against Wisconsin, and it's Nussmeier's coming out party.
Yeah, I'll take it. As far as coming out party, I think he he's not. I don't think he's going to bomb away for like 400 yards or something, but I think he's going to manage the game well. Maybe he'll get to 300. I don't know, but yeah, I think Nuss is going to do all right.
All right. Alabama boat races Michigan in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. Kind of like I said earlier, Vegas always knows, and they got Michigan as a slight favorite right now. Yeah,
they do seem to know, don't they? They're right more often than they're not.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
All right. Quinn Ewers throws for more yards than Michael Penix in the Sugar Bowl.
I'm gonna say leave it. I think Penix does throw for more than him, but it's because he's going to need to, because the run game is not going to be there for Washington.
Okay, I almost put you one in the negative column, but you made up for that. Texas passes for over 300 yards.
Leave it. No. Because, I mean, Ewers has had quite a few games where he hasn't thrown for 300, and they've won, maybe not comfortably, but they won the game. And so even if they win, and even if they win by a decent amount, I don't think he's getting it to 300.
Okay.
Because again, I don't know if they'll need to, because they'll be able to run a little bit easier than Washington can.
Yeah. I think that's the decider that would keep us is the balance, and I do think we'll have more balance than they will.
Yeah.
Something inappropriate happens when the Pop-Tart mascot gets eaten after the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Take it or leave it.
I mean, we are talking about a bunch of college kids here. I'm gonna say leave it, just to feel like a good person.
I was hoping you would take it. Just all right. I'm taking it because I think it makes for good TV, and it's just waiting for something like that to happen. All right. LSU and or Texas finishes in the top 5 of the SEC next year, since there's no divisions.
So both of them, you're saying, or either or?
I said and or.
Oh, and or. Okay, I'm going to say LSU does.
You're going to leave us out of the top 5? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm just bringing up the schedule here. You got OU as usual. You got Georgia. You got A&M, and they're going to be licking their chops. You got at Michigan.
Yeah, but Michigan's on the SEC. Don't count.
I know, but you lose a game like that, something big, it could set up for something later on. Well, actually, y'all got a fairly easy schedule now that I really look at this. Man, who did y'all pay off? Good Lord. What?
I mean, come on. You got Georgia. Come on.
Yeah, you got Oklahoma, Georgia back to back. Then what? I mean, Vandy, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, A&M. Man.
Yeah, but we've got to play Arkansas and A&M both there. I mean, so that's.
No, don't give me. No, don't. Man. I'm gonna say.
All right.
I'm gonna say there's gonna be something wacky in there. I'm gonna go with no.
Okay, we may have to do some kind of wager on that.
Okay.
All right. So before we wrap up, do you have any buy or sell or take it or leave it question?
Yeah. I tell you. Well, yeah. Well, actually, I have a couple just general questions for you.
Oh boy.
But besides going to Tiger Stadium, what other stadium would you look forward to as far as a road trip in the SEC?
Besides Tiger Stadium,
Yeah.
all right, I'll give you three.
All right.
I would probably say Ole Miss, um, Georgia, and I'd say Vandy just because I like Nashville,
All right.
but I'm guessing you're saying ones that we have not been to previously.
Yeah.
Mm. I'm ruling out a couple in my head. I think
Okay.
Gainesville. I think going to the swamp. So I would say Athens
Okay.
with Georgia, Florida in the swamp, and then hitting the Grove
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in Oxford. So
Right. All right. Okay, here's a take it or leave it for you. Within 2 years, the SEC adopts a different format in how we play each other. Like, say, whether it goes to divisions or a pod format or something else.
within 2 years,
Within 2 years, well, I should say after the first 2 years of SEC play.
is this providing the number of teams stays as it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think.
I don't know. I can see it heading that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of SEC teams that are upset by some of the lost rivalries because of this random play. So I see something happening, something different.
I still think they'll rank it, where the top two teams go to the title game, but I do see some kind of a pod type format coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that'll allow them, if the ACC implodes like it appears they are, and they take
Yeah.
on some more teams, they can do that easier.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Here's a buy or sell. All this realignment that's been going on, within, I don't know, a few years, it gets reversed for non-football sports due to budget constraints and teams not being able to travel twice a week across the country.
So is this in reference to what old Chip Kelly's?
Well, that's actually what made me think of it, because it's like, yeah, because you have basketball, you got water polo, you got tennis, you have baseball, you got swimming and diving, you have all these sports that don't have the budgets that football does, and now all of a sudden they have to go across the country for a midweek game, then come back for a home game, then maybe go across the country again for another midweek game, because schedule makers aren't considering your your actual travel schedule.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying football becomes its own thing, but
right. Did you say a time frame on that one?
No, not really. Just within a few years.
I'm going to leave it, sell it.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see some of these smaller sports just shutting down?
I've just in the immediate future, it will be interesting to see if the power brokers and the money people in the power positions will allow, because that will require a complete change up of the way things are aligned. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got too many people, too many chiefs, too many chefs in the kitchen. Will they be able to come together and make the right decision, which that probably would be. And I'm not convinced that that's the case. So
yeah. All right.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, I think we've done enough damage for
Yeah.
episode 1. I appreciate you taking time out of your bowl
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
to just hang out with me for an hour.
Yeah. I mean, my pleasure. And, might be able to catch the end of the Duke's Mayo Bowl to see who gets the mayo dumped on them. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course A&M and Oklahoma State starting up
Yes.
about right now. So
Yeah. I
all
think I
right.
have an Aggie cap somewhere, maybe. I don't know.
Is it holding up part of the bed or something?
No, it's buried under some other hats, I think.
Okay, you better find it because the missus may want it. So
Yeah.
Barret, now thanks for hanging out. I look forward to having
Yeah.
you on again.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
You bet.
All right.